Amazing recent scientific discoveries in the world. Every day, the world continues to rotate, orbiting our parent star and gently spinning around the center of our galaxy by the laws of physics. These laws were not always well known. They're essentially breaking news in the grand picture of the human experiment. That is the advantage of science. Its amazing potential to illuminate and modify the world around us. Hello tech geeks, welcome to the tech world, your most trustworthy and thoroughly updated channel for all kinds of technological news, scientific discoveries and inventions, along with a glimpse of the future world. So hurry up and subscribe now and ring the notification bell to get all the updates. Having said that, let's dive right in. While most of us go about our regular lives, science keeps on finding new knowledge, making discoveries and breaking new ground. Every day, scientists and researchers in laboratories and field sites around the world chisel away at the knowledge vacuum that we come into this world with. We couldn't possibly report on every discovery, advancement, or invention produced in a single day, let alone a month. But that shouldn't stop us from trying. Science works best when it is acknowledged or at the very least, comprehended. To that purpose, here are the 12 most interesting scientific discoveries made in March 2020. Is the Stonehenge calendar solar? For decades, Stonehenge has been a source of mystery and awe, with several interpretations of how it was built and what it was used for. According to new research, we may finally have an answer. Professor Timothy Darville, an archaeologist at Bournemouth University, believes Stonehenge served as a solar calendar, with different parts of the building representing different days or weeks. The ancient calendar is arranged slightly differently from what we might recognize today. Each stone represents a single day in a month, which is divided into 3 weeks of 10 days each. That simple system worked for day-to-day tracking, but they had to make some tweaks to align it with the movements of the sun, per Bournemouth University. A brief extra month of barely 5 days was added, as well as stones to monitor an extra day every 4 years to account for the leap year. As a result, the winter and summer solstices are always framed by the same pair of stones. This would have provided Neolithic Europeans with a solid frame of reference for correcting any inaccuracies in day tracking throughout the year. 100-year-old wreckage was discovered by underwater robots. The ship Endurance went missing in the Weddell Sea in 1915, while on the expedition across Antarctica. Fortunately, the entire crew of 28 persons survived the catastrophe. Despite knowing roughly where the ship went down, it stayed undiscovered for more than a century, until recently. The search for the ship was extremely difficult, owing in part to less than ideal conditions in Antarctic waters. Sea ice covers large areas of the freezing oceans, prohibiting explorers from employing traditional investigative techniques. It appears that discovering the buried remnants of the Endurance had to wait for technology to catch up. The Endurance 22 salvage expedition rowed out aboard the S.A. Agulhas II to a location where they thought they may find the ship. Once there, they launched saber-tooth autonomous underwater robots, which probed the ocean floor with a laser scanner and sonar, as well as cameras to photograph anything they saw and discover something they did. After discovering the disaster, the saber-tooths used their scanning devices to create a 3D reconstruction of the ship and associated debris, per Endurance 22. Artemis is getting closer to its debut. The Apollo missions were the first to send humans to the lunar surface in the late 1960s and early 1970s, ushering in the most advanced period of human spaceflight. The last time humanity walked on another planet was 50 years ago in December of 2022, and NASA has set its sights on returning. The Artemis missions, named after Apollo's twin sister in Greek mythology, were originally scheduled to return boots to the moon's surface by 2024. But that deadline has since been pushed back. The program is progressing, with the first mission on the horizon. Artemis 1, an unmanned test mission, will orbit the moon with NASA's new Space Launch System, SLS. The expedition will last 4 to 6 weeks until the drone returns home. The primary goals are to test the launch system and spacecraft, as well as to ensure a safe re-entry and splashdown, per NASA. The launch is scheduled for mid-2022. NASA published a 1-minute movie to commemorate the forthcoming mission, assuming that Artemis would arrive at the launch pad soon. NASA fulfilled that commitment on March 17, 2022. The SLS was installed on the Crawler Teleporter 2, CT2, and moved slowly, less than 1 mile per hour, from the vehicle assembly building to its launch location at Kennedy Space Center's Launch Pad 39B, per Gizmodo. The surface of Mercury is covered in diamond particles. Mercury used to be a much more dangerous planet. It's still not optimal, with severe temperature differences between its day and night cycles. While we wouldn't want to live there, it may be fun to go treasure hunting there. According to Kevin Cannon's presentation at the 53rd Lunar and Planetary Science Conference, recent models of Mercury's surface and impact interactions over the past 4 billion years have shown that the planet's surface may be covered in microscopic diamonds. Mercury was covered in a worldwide magma ocean during its early development. Graphite formed within the magma and ascended to the surface, forming a floating graphite crust hundreds of meters thick. The first billion years after the birth of the solar system were littered with asteroid collisions, each of which could have quickly transformed that graphite into diamond. These would not be the huge, clear jewels we're used to seeing in jewelry. Unlike diamonds on Earth, instead, minuscule diamond dust would have been spread throughout the surface. Future missions on the planet may reveal more about its surface composition. But if these estimations are true, Mercury may have a diamond hoard 16 times the size of Earth's. Worms that sniff cancer. Detecting disorders such as cancer is frequently crucial for a favorable outcome. Cancer, for instance, has a much enhanced survival probability if discovered early. Thus, doctors and scientists are constantly exploring better screening procedures. A little piece of plastic loaded with worms is the newest addition to the diagnostician's toolbox. C. elegans specifically. Medical technology, diagnosis, and treatment have advanced dramatically in recent decades, but as with other things, nature can outperform us. Nematodes are relatively simple creatures, so much so that they are a favorite model organism for all types of research, according to NCBI, but they have an advanced sense of smell that they utilize to traverse the world. That sense of smell appears to be fine-tuned for detecting particular types of cancer. Researchers from the National Research Foundation of Korea use the worms to detect cultivated lung cancer cells. Their worm-on-a-chip invention is a little rectangular piece of elastoma with a chamber carved out of its inside. The worms are placed in the center and given the option of following one of two courses. Malignant cells are on the other end of the spectrum from healthy cells. The worms effectively traveled toward the malignant sample roughly 70% of the time, according to the researchers. Exoplanet research has reached a significant milestone. The search for planets beyond our solar system is a relatively young development in astronomy. In reality, the first confirmed exoplanet was identified only in 1992 per space. Even though exoplanet discovery is still in its infancy, the field has grown significantly. Hubble, TRAPPIST, and more recently, the JWST telescopes have allowed humanity to see deeper into our cosmos and further back in time than ever before. With strong tools and constantly improved detection methods and practices, the number of confirmed exoplanets has rapidly increased to the point where planets are now added to the registry in batches rather than individually. NASA received the latest batch of confirmed planets on March 21st, 2022. Multiple observations are usually required to confirm that they are not an anomaly or an experimental error. The batch contained 65 new worlds, bringing the total number of exoplanets to more than 5,000. A substantial proportion of the exoplanets identified so far are hot Jupiters, which are gas giants that circle close to their parent star. However, it appears that this is a result of our observation techniques, and is not necessarily typical of the most prevalent sorts of planets. We've also discovered super-Earths and mini-Neptunes, among other unusual planets, per NASA. We'll be at 10,000 planets before we know it if we keep going at this rate. Which discovery was shocking to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. That's the end of this video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.